So you're thinking about buying a home in beautiful Fernie, British Columbia, Canada. Well, I am here to tell you that there are some houses that you should never buy in Fernie. Alrighty, here's my honest opinion. In my opinion, hit the YouTube algorithm, smash that like button and do all those things. Don't be afraid to subscribe. I'm going to try and give you the real deal as often as I can. All right. First of all, you're driving around, you think you want to buy a house in Fernie. There are some obvious red flags that you need to pay attention to. All right. Quick little history on Fernie. Some of these houses you're going to see are 100 years old. All depends on your price range. If your price range is in that 600 to a million range, you're going to see houses that are 100 years old, up to ones that were probably built into the 1980s. Okay. Then if your budget is $1.5 million, you're going to get into new houses, houses that are built in the last 5 years, custom builds. Okay? And each one, there's something different to each one that is either that has a potential red flag, and you should pay attention. All right. So I grew up here. Moved here in the early 80s. Yeah, the early 80s. I'm a 19th century type of dude. And today we're going to talk about something that I'm sure you're wondering about, okay? There are certain houses and certain types of houses that you should never buy, especially if you're not handy. Now, if you're super handy and you can do a carpenter or a plumber and electrical, and you can do all that kind of work, then some of this stuff doesn't make any sense to you, okay? It doesn't pertain. But if you're not, and you're going to have to hire out, then there are some things that you want to be thinking about. Okay, let's make this Fernie a dream. Let's not make it a nightmare. All right, never buy these houses. Number one, okay, general red flags. In Fernie, you have such a thing as a bad location. Wicked views everywhere, great. Wow, stunning, but pay attention to where that house is located. Okay, if that house is located on the train tracks, close to the train tracks, or by where the trains cross the road, like the road crosses the train tracks, yeah, the horn on the train, they blow that horn, and there's a couple of train drivers that go through the valley here that love their horn, and they will make sure that everybody and their dog hears this horn. Okay, so that's one thing you need to think about. So the location of your property, right? So you could think it's a great spot. My suggestion is go see all the houses that you want to go and see. Then and then try and pay attention to where that train track is and where your house is situated in conjunction with the crossings and the horn honking and stuff like that. Okay, you want to stay away from the obvious money pit. Every town, every street, doesn't matter. Certain houses are money pits. Things you got to pay attention to in Fernie is just some of the stuff needs so much work that the cost of doing the work won't justify you being able to sell it again in the future at a profitable price, or it'll just bog you down for years to come. The mystery renovation home. Yeah, there's a lot of do-it-yourselfers, and back in the day, I remember my first house, when I first started being a realtor, there was no such thing as a occupancy permit. Nobody had one. So this is back in I think about my first house in 1995 or 1996. Anyways, there was no occupancy permit. You bought a house. The house was yours. And you could do a reno in your house. You didn't need a permit. So pay attention to when that permit was done. Now, lucky, any houses that I was involved with, I'm not a handy guy. I'm a hard worker, and by no means am I a carpenter. I could tear walls down and I could do those things. I could organize the people to do the work, and I always trusted the ones that could do it because that's what they were good at, and I wasn't. So anything that I ever renovated, yes, I actually had to pay extra because I couldn't do a lot of that work, especially water. Never touch plumbing, never touch electrical, never, yeah. I was more a demo guy and grunt. Okay, so you have to pay attention because some of the stuff that may look like it's been redone may not have been done properly. Okay, common issues with some of the older Fernie homes. You will see some homes, and you'll get a kick out of these homes, and we call them minor shacks, minor homes, built back in the 1900s, early 1900s, 1920, 30, 40s. These houses will have some have wooden foundations, some have cracked foundations, some have dirt foundations, like the dirt floor. So there's certain things that you need to just pay attention to when you go into these houses, and you need to understand that there are issues. And there's going to be issues and potential issues if they haven't been already addressed. So just got to know it, right? Don't go in blind. There's a reason. There's a reason the price is where it is. You just go in and understand there's going to be some work. So there's foundation stuff, potentially old wiring, old plumbing. Yeah, there's some wild stuff out there. You'll see the electrical knob and tube type stuff, and even on ones that have been redone, although the wiring's been redone, you'll still see the knob stuff. It's kind of cool. Knob and tube, sorry. So hopefully they've already been upgraded. You'll get, you might see some water damage and some old mold. We get a lot of snow, we get a lot of rain. A lot of these homes weren't properly sloped on the subgrade away from the house and the foundation. Pay attention. See if they're sloping in towards the foundations on the outside of the building. Check that out with your inspector, and definitely doing a home inspection on any house actually in Fernie or anywhere you go to buy. Some of these old houses, I got stories I could tell you about some of these old houses and how they used to insulate them. Now you'll have an old home and the walls would have been stuffed with and insulated with newspaper. Seen it. Guy buys a house, goes in, does a reno. the insulation only goes halfway up the wall and it's newspaper. It's crazy what they used to do way back then. But they had to do it because they had to survive, right? Lots of the houses built before 1990 will have asbestos. Might have asbestos in the insulation. Sorry, they could have asbestos in the tiles. Remember those old tiles we grew up on? Those tiles, yeah, they got asbestos. So you need to know this ahead of time so that when you go in to do them, there's a remediation process that you have to go through in order to make this good enough to code. Okay? And like I said before, there's a lot of unpermitted, do-it-yourself renovations that have happened over the years. Nowadays, it's not. They'll shut you down. They'll make you pull your permits. But way back when, they didn't. But so yeah, if you can, you get records, you find out who did the work, and you go from there. All right, so now you think you want to buy a new home, and new homes mean no problems, right? Well, not exactly. Sometimes you're going to buy a new house and you're going to think it's going to be absolutely perfect. You will have your warranty, your 210, but you will still have things happen, and it's natural, and you should pay attention to. So if you bought a brand new house today, you're going to want to slowly document over the next year, little paint cracks, little nicks, little things that are shifting, settling. You want to pay attention to that, and you want to let your builder know. But you will have settling cracks. It just happens, but we don't get big ones. So if it's a big one, you need to pay attention to that. Pay attention to the drainage and drainage issues. Fernie is, we get a lot of rain, a lot of snow, a lot of underground creeks seeping up and through. You want to make sure that all that water is being shed away from your home and away from the foundation and monitored properly. You don't send it into your neighbor's yard. You send it to where it should with your eaves troughs, etc. But your subgrade, make sure your subgrade is done properly. Rush jobs and builders flaws. So yes, not all builders are built the same. Every once in a while we see some shoddy work, and we do our best not to suggest those builders, and they usually end up disappearing because they build one and they're ones and dones, right? Now, we have some very reputable builders that stand behind their work, and they've been in the community for years. Those are the ones I give the nod to, you know, whether they're if they're longtime builders, wherever they're involved, you're going to be successful, or your chances for success are greater. Because if something goes wrong, you want to be able to call somebody. You want to know that they're going to be able to get there, and that company hasn't shut down, right? Heating and cooling issues. Now, a lot of the heating is going to be forced air. You will get some boiler type stuff, and some of the old houses, the amount of cracks and stuff around the doors and sills and the windows, that will definitely add to your hydro gas costs. It's kind of funny, not a lot of air conditioners, especially definitely not in, usually not in the $1 million and under homes. You'll see them in the new builds. You'll see all the new technology and all the new builds, which is kind of cool, but you're gonna have to pay for it. And then, if you buy a new house, you're going to have lack of mature landscaping. It's going to take you some time for those trees to grow, your grass to grow. My suggestion, Fernie is for as much moisture as we get. I'm a former landscape design, I'll just say construction guy. We did a lot of rock work back in the day, sprinkler systems, irrigation, building, planting trees, shrubs, etc. Now, and brick, a lot of brick. And one thing I can tell you is that in July and August, Fernie gets smoking hot, and we don't get a lot of moisture and a lot of rain and a lot of that kind of stuff. So what you need to do, my suggestion, take the time, spend the money when you're doing your landscaping at the start of your project on your new home. You just spent $1.5 million on this new home. Don't chintz out. Don't plant $10,000 worth of trees and don't have something to water to them while you're at the lake. Think about it. Sprinkler system, yes. Grade your property, definitely. Plant those trees strategically so that it doesn't obstruct your views. You'll have some that are bigger at the start and then smaller that can kind of grow up into each other and go from there. Okay. So what you want to do, I always suggest get a home inspector to inspect your home. In the event that your home inspector actually comes back and says some stuff that might not make a lot of sense to the seller or the buyer, right? Like something that is very specific to plumbing or mechanical or electrical or foundation concrete. Your inspector generally they're looking for a list. They go down the list and they look for what's wrong with the house, stuff we don't know or have familiarity with. But sometimes they'll pick out things that they're not overly familiar with neither. Some of the new heating systems, some of the new geopump types systems, they're not familiar with, and they might comment a misguided comment, right? They'll apologize, but if there's an issue, if you think there's an issue that doesn't quite seem right, definitely bring in the pros, get them to have a look, address the issue, go from there, okay? And in conclusion, Buying a home in Fernie is exciting. Let's not be silly here. It is so exciting and scary and fun and exciting and scary that yeah, we should have a lot of fun doing it. I'm here to take care of you and represent you. I'll guide you through the process. I'll keep you from buying the house that you shouldn't buy. And I've been here long enough to know that certain areas of town and certain areas on the ski hill or whatever are good purchases, poor purchases, bad purchases, things to look for, things that I've found on doing 4 renos myself, managing those, what sells, what doesn't sell. I've been a realtor for 20 plus years, raised my kids here. I know the streets. I know where people should be. I know where families should be. I know where singles should be. Certain things yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. Let's make this process. Let's have fun with it. Let's make sure that you're not making any silly decisions. At the end of the day, they are your decisions, and I'm just here to help. Okay? So give me a shout, 250-430-1162. Call or text. And thank you for watching. Do me a favor. Hit that YouTube algorithm. Kaboom. Like, subscribe. I'm going to be posting more of these. And if you have any suggestions or anything that I may have missed, please write them in the comment. DM me personally. It doesn't matter. Write them in the comment. Let me know. I'm doing my best, trying to help you. And the more people that I can help by doing this, I may never meet you, but you may see this video and it may have just saved you hundreds of thousands of dollars. All right, you guys have a great day. Peace.